Hi, my name is Scott, and this is Wigg Island Nature Reserve, probably the largest green space in all of Halton. No doubt you can see its astounding natural beauty, but it hasn't always been like this. This area was once home to a ton of industrial sites, but that changed many years ago. Originally a site used to extract copper from its ore, Wigg Island is named after Charles Wigg, the original owner of Wigg Works, which was bought and sold many times over the years. By World War II, a second factory that had since been erected became the centre for the production of mustard gas. After which, the ICI continued operations here until the 1960s, the site now heavily polluted by a range of chemicals. Finally, in 2002, the site was opened as a community park by the Mayor of Halton and famous British comedian and bird lover, Bill Oddie, but wasn't declared a full nature reserve until 2004. Today the reserve is home to a plethora of plants and animals, including the increasingly rare bee orchid and massive communities of waterbirds. I'm going to give you a glimpse into the lives of just a few animals that call this place home. Behind me, in this dark and dense woodland, is one of Britain's most elusive mammals. And a bird. Living throughout most of Europe and Western Asia, European badgers usually make their homes in deciduous and mixed woodlands here in Britain. These habitats usually contain ecosystems within which give badgers everything they need. Being the most social of all badgers, they live in small groups of about 6 adults in special burrows called sets, but in areas of abundant resources, groups have been known to reach up to 23 individuals. Despite being the UK's largest predator, they aren't going to be taking down deer anytime soon, especially on Wigg Island, in which deer are completely absent. Badgers are traditionally mesopredators, feeding on almost any small animal they can get hold of, earthworms being a particular favourite and the most important part of their diet. Though they do also feed on anything from snails, rabbits and hedgehogs to unattended chickens. Being true omnivores, they attain a lot of their energy from plants too. Seasonal fruits like this blackberry help prepare them for winter. Although the relationship between badgers and red foxes is sometimes antagonistic, it is not uncommon for these two species to share the same burrow. It's possible they tolerate one another due to commensalism, as foxes may provide the badger with scraps and the badger maintains the cleanliness of the burrow. Similarly, introduced species like the raccoon duck, a relative of the fox, have also been seen sharing dens with badgers, especially during winter. Though if they overstay their welcome, the badgers may drive out or even kill their lodgers. One of the world's most instantly recognizable animals, the mute swan, can be found natively throughout Europe, but have been introduced into North America, Asia, South Africa and Oceania via the meat trade and as living decoration in parks, that subsequently escaped or were released into the wild. Mute swans can be found in almost any large body of fresh water such as lakes, canals, rivers and ponds, but also can be found in brackish and saltwater bodies where food is abundant. Mutes are notoriously territorial, particularly towards other mutes. An entire pond or small lake can be claimed by just one mated pair, though on occasion they can be colonial in larger habitats, some of which may contain 100 pairs. When breeding or with cygnets, their aggression is often taken out upon any and all species seen as a threat or competition for resources, such as geese, though they usually tolerate smaller birds such as ducks and coots. This may be due to the latter two having more varied diets than the swans themselves. Mute swans are herbivorous, using their long necks to primarily consume aquatic vegetation and algae at the bottom of water sources, which other species struggle to reach. They will also consume terrestrial plants like grasses and clovers, as these commonly grow close to the water's edge. Swans remain together for life and are known to grieve the loss of mates or young. They will go through a full mourning process, sometimes staying where their partner once lived or leaving the territory altogether and joining a colony. In either case, the remaining individual may never take up another mate or breed again. At home in the leaf litter, this little Palmate Newt is one of the smallest salamanders in Europe, only reaching 10 centimeters in length. Occurring in much of Western Europe, the species is protected in all the countries it occurs. Although populations in the UK are of least concern, they are exceedingly rare, bordering on endangered elsewhere. They spend the breeding season in ponds and lakes where they lay up to 300 eggs, but when not breeding, spend the bulk of their time in the undergrowth on land. They're most commonly found in forests, marshes, and pastures, but can also be found on acidic moorland. During breeding season, male newts grow a striking crest down their back, a trait they share with the smooth and great-crested newts that often gets it confused with said species. Like all adult amphibians, they are carnivorous and will consume invertebrates both aquatic and terrestrial, occasionally taking tiny fish and tadpoles. Slow-moving slugs and woodlice are common within the animal's diet. Adults will enter hibernation under rocks and logs, or less commonly underwater between November and March. In colder regions where the young are slow to develop, they will overwinter in the water, metamorphosing into adults in the coming spring. These species are just a few of the animals found in this reserve, each one fulfilling an important role in the greater ecosystem. But this space, and many others nationwide, have yet more potential. Currently, the United Kingdom has one of the lowest biodiversity ratings in the world. This means the variety and variability of organisms is less than the norm historically or elsewhere in similar nations. There are a number of reasons for this, from the removal of keystone species, the destruction of habitat, and the maintenance of traditional green spaces for people as opposed to the protection of natural spaces for wildlife. In a later video, I will explain by how taking the initiative through a revolutionary field of conservation called rewilding, places like this can further thrive.